I'm Emily Williams, and thanks so much for tuning in to our next video in the Beginning Violinist 2015 video series. In this video, we're going to be starting a new section in the book, Songs on One String. Last time, we looked at etudes for each string. So after a student completes the etude for a string, then they're ready to go on and do the song that corresponds to that string. The first song in this section is Bird Song, and it uses all the notes on the E string. Like I said last time, you can do these in any order. So I usually start my students learning the notes on the A string. So I would then teach them the song that goes with the A string. But the one that is first in the book is the E string. So it doesn't matter the order. So after your students learn the notes on the E string, they're ready for Bird Song. And Bird Song introduces some new concepts along with solidifying the notes that are on the E string. The first thing that it introduces that's a little bit different is a changing time signature. So the song starts out in 2/4, and the next measure is in 3/4, and it changes every few measures. So students learn to look for the changing time signature and then learn to count accordingly. The quarter note stays the same. So they're just going to be either counting up to 2 in each measure or counting up to 3 in each measure. And my experience with that is that students don't have too much of a difficult time making that transition. They easily see what the different time signatures mean. The next thing that is a little bit different in this song is that we add in the left-hand pizzicato. Now, students already have learned left-hand pizzicato in Surprise for Strings, but we add it in now in the context of a song. Now, when I first showed you how I introduce left-hand pizzicato, I said it was sometimes easier for the student to have their hand up here. There's a bigger distance between the strings, and so plucking with the pinky is easier when their hand is up here, and it sets up that nice position of the wrist. The wrist is straight because it's up against the body of the instrument. When you bring the hand back down here, because they're going to be having to use the left-hand fingers, it makes it a little bit more difficult to do the left-hand pizzicato. But all the pizzicato, since we're on the E string, will be on the E string with the pinky, like that. They should also keep the wrist in the same position when they're doing that. So sometimes what happens is that students want to do this when they go to pluck. So you'll want to make sure that they're pulling from underneath the string with the pinky, but keeping that wrist back when they're doing their left hand pizzicato. This is started in the second measure, which sounds like this. And then there's 2 additional measures in that line of the same material. So the first line of the song is this. You see all those nice left-hand pizzicatos. So in addition to doing the left-hand pizzicato, what's sometimes a challenge is then getting the hand back to playing that G sharp after the left-hand pizz. So there's a couple of things that will be helpful. First, you want to make sure that that index finger stays connected. If the hand comes away from the instrument after the pluck or during the pluck, then the student doesn't have a reference point for putting their hand back in the correct position, and they're most likely then not going to play in tune. So when they're plucking, the hand should stay very close to the neck, and the index finger should stay connected as much as possible. After they pluck, the second thing is that they need to make sure that they reach it back with that index finger, and that they separate the fingers from the base of the hand. You can practice this on the individual etudes as well. This separation of the fingers from the base of the hand. That's what allows us to get a nice space so that all the fingers can be curved. So after the pizz, separate from the base of the hand. The fingers should pull like this. And then that makes that nice big whole step space for the G sharp. And then the F sharp can still be in tune. which you will need for later on in the piece. So those are the new concepts, or perhaps not new concepts, but concepts that we have introduced, but now we're putting them in a little bit different context. And this song uses all the same rhythms that the students already know, so that shouldn't be a challenge for them. I have my student Iana playing this song for us. She actually performed this at one of our recent recitals, and so that is the recording that I'm going to play for you. I hope you enjoy it.